Welcome back to She Rises Daily, Emerging You in 10. I'm your host, Doc Shelley, here to bring you your daily dose of inspiration, empowerment, and growth. How much time have you spent replaying conversations after they've already ended? Thinking about things like what you should have said, what you shouldn't have said, how you came across, whether you handled something correctly or not, whether you sounded smart enough, kind enough, confident enough, or professional enough. If you're like many high-achieving people, you've probably done that more times than you'd care to admit. Now, don't get me wrong, reflection is valuable. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful tools we have for growth, and I think it's one of the most underutilized ones. However, somewhere along the way, many of us crossed an invisible line. We stopped learning from our experiences and started grading ourselves through them. Today, I'd like to talk about the cost of constant self-correction. Reflection and self-criticism are not the same thing. When we're in reflection, we're asking things like, what can I learn from this? Whereas self-criticism focuses on, what's wrong with me? Reflection creates awareness. Self-criticism is creating a whole lot of judgment. Reflection helps us grow. Self-criticism convinces us we are always falling short. The tricky part is that self-criticism often disguises itself as personal development. It sounds productive. It sounds responsible, even mature. But underneath it is often this belief that we must continuously fix ourselves in order to be worthy. You cannot relax if you're always monitoring yourself. Many people move through life with an internal evaluator running in the background. They're constantly assessing, how am I doing? How did that sound? Did they like me? Did I make a mistake? Could I have done that better? Imagine trying to enjoy a conversation while someone stands behind you with a clipboard taking notes. That's what constant self-monitoring feels like. At some point, you stop participating in your life and you start performing it. I remember many, many years ago, I'm talking like 30 years ago, after facilitating a workshop, I remember driving home, mentally replaying the entire session. I thought about every comment I made, all the examples that I used, every question that I answered. For nearly an hour, I reviewed what I could have done differently. I could have used a better example there. I probably should have asked a different question in that module. I should have explained that concept differently. I should have. And I had a realization. If someone had asked me how the workshop went, I would have said it went really well. The participants were engaged. The feedback was very positive. I met all of the objectives, and yet somehow I had spent my entire drive focusing on the little tiny percentage of things that weren't perfect. What started as healthy reflection became a search for flaws, and if we're not careful, that habit follows us everywhere. Constant self-correction erodes self-trust. Every time you second-guess yourself, you are sending a message to your brain, and that message is, don't trust your instincts. Don't trust your judgment. Don't trust your own voice. Those are not good messages. Of course, there are times when we need feedback and we need to adjust, but when every decision gets reviewed, questioned, and analyzed, we are slowly teaching ourselves that we cannot be trusted. Self-trust isn't built by being perfect. It's built by allowing yourself to make decisions, to learn, to adapt, and move forward. Growth should expand your life, not make you afraid to live it. This is the distinction I want you to remember. Healthy growth creates freedom. Unhealthy self-correction creates fear. Healthy growth says, I'm learning. Unhealthy self-reflection says, I am never enough. One helps you become more fully yourself, and the other keeps you trapped in a cycle of endless improvement projects. At some point, growth requires something surprising, not more fixing. it requires more acceptance. Here's your reflection question for today. Where in your life have you mistaken self-criticism for self-improvement? And what would change if you approached yourself with curiosity instead of correction? And here's your power thought. You do not grow by constantly fixing yourself. You grow by trusting yourself enough to learn as you go. Many of us have spent years believing that our success came from constantly pushing ourselves to be better. And sometimes that drive has served us well. There's a difference, though, between striving for excellence and constantly searching for evidence that you are falling short. You don't need to review every word, analyze every decision, or edit every part of who you are. You are allowed to learn without living under constant evaluation. This week, notice when your inner dialogue shifts from reflection to criticism. When you catch yourself replaying a conversation, revisiting a decision, or picking apart your performance, pause and ask yourself, am I trying to learn from this, or am I looking for something to fix? See what happens when you choose curiosity over correction. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of She Rises Daily, Emerging You in 10. Until next time, remember, you are never meant to spend your life standing outside yourself with a clipboard. Put down the scorecard, trust what you've learned, and allow yourself to fully participate in the life you're creating.